Yeah, so I've come out against this bill, and I don't think it's actually about gay marriage. It's not about same-sex marriage or same-sex equality. Look, gay marriage is the law of the land in this country, and I'm not trying to do anything to change that. But if you look at the specific bill that's being proposed, it wouldn't just codify something that's already enacted in law. It would actually make it easier for both the government and a lot of private parties to sue religious organizations if those religious organizations don't comply with the dictates of the federal government. I'm a devout Christian, and I think it's important to protect religious liberty in this country. We remember about 10 years ago when the Obama administration, I'm sure supported by Tim Ryan, went after a group of Catholic nuns because that Catholic nunnery wanted to run its organization the way that confirmed with its religious beliefs. That should be okay in this country, and the problem with this legislation is it's going to unleash a wave of litigation against our churches, our religious organizations, our mosques, our synagogues, everything. That's why I don't think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Mr. Vance. Congressman Ryan, same question.
Yeah, I voted for that in the House of Representatives. I will support codifying that into the Senate. But only J.D. Vance can say that the bill that codifies same-sex marriage is not about same-sex marriage. Only J.D. You're the only one, J.D. Vance, that can actually say that. It's unbelievable. The problem we have here is we have 15,000 marriages here in Ohio. And when you read Justice Thomas's opinion on abortion, which J.D. Vance wants to celebrate, it also included in there nullifying these marriages, and it also included in there getting rid of protections around birth control. This is what I'm trying to explain to Ohioans, that J.D. Vance is extreme on these issues. No exceptions for rape or incest. He called rape inconvenient. He said he denied it, but it's on tape, right? Now he says he's not for same-sex marriage. He's going right down the line with the absolute most extremists, the guys who want to ban books and everything else. Those are the guys you bring into the state to campaign for you, J.D. These are extreme positions that Ohioans are rejecting. On January 6th, we had 140 cops, United States Capitol Police, get injured during the insurrection when they tried to overthrow the government. Beat them upside the head with lead pipes, spray them with pepper spray. The one video we saw, the cop got jammed into the door, right? J.D. Vance raised money for the legal defense fund of the insurrectionists. This is the kind of extremism, J.D., that we wholly reject. You have video posts. Don't even try to deny it. We got your Twitter posts and everything else. Everybody's seen it. He said, help these guys with their legal defense fund. Now, can you imagine one guy saying out of one side of his mouth he's pro-cop, and out of the other side of his mouth he's raising money for the insurrectionists who were beating up the Capitol Police? The one guy he tried to raise money for got 4 years in prison. This is ridiculous. I'm not taking a back seat to you. I brought $500 million back to fund police in Ohio.
On the Lindsey Graham bill, my view on this is, generally speaking, Ohio is going to want to have different abortion laws than California, than Texas, and I think Ohio should have that right. But some minimum national standard is totally fine with me.
You know what I haven't done? I didn't start a fake nonprofit pretending like I was going to help people with addiction like J.D. Vance did. Literally started a nonprofit and didn't spend one nickel on anybody. In fact, he brought in somebody from Purdue Pharma to be the spokesperson for the nonprofit. The same drug company, Big Pharma, the big drug company that had all the pill mills going, got everybody addicted. 1 million people died, J.D. 1 million people died, and you started a nonprofit to try to take advantage of people in Ohio, and you know what? All you did with it was launch your political career. Like just a few weeks ago in Youngstown, on the stage, Donald Trump said to J.D. Vance, all you do is kiss my ass to get my support. He said that. That's bad, because that means J.D. Vance is going to do whatever he wants. Mitch McConnell's given him $40 million. He's going to do what he wants. And Peter Thiel gave him $15 million. He's going to do what he wants. And here's the thing that's most troubling about this, lack of courage, is that after Trump took J.D. Vance's dignity from him on the stage in Youngstown, J.D. Vance got back up on stage and started shaking his hand, taking pictures, saying, hey, aren't we having a great time here tonight? I don't know anybody I grew up with, I don't know anybody I went to high school with that would allow somebody to take their dignity like that and then get back up on stage. We need leaders who have courage to take on their own party. And I've proven that, and he was called an ass kisser by the former president. I'm for Ohio. I don't kiss anyone's ass like him. Ohio needs an ass kicker, not an ass kisser.
Dear God. Now look, I expected Tim Ryan to walk away with a win. I didn't expect him to walk away with JD Vance's balls. This was Tim Ryan putting on a clinic in his debate with Republican JD Vance. Now, just a few points here. First and foremost, the number one thing we should pay attention to is the fact that JD Vance says overtly that he will support a nationwide ban on abortion. And that is the entire ballgame. That puts on full display exactly what's at stake in this election. This is a guy vowing to vote for a platform that's supported by less than a third of all Americans. Remember, 70% of Americans support Roe, support a woman's right to a safe and legal abortion in this country. JD Vance is advocating on behalf of the minority of Americans who believe that they should be able to dictate what other people do with their own bodies. And all the while, they'll beat their own chest about how they want a small government, because of course. But what's worse, as if you needed anything worse than a candidate who doesn't think that you deserve bodily autonomy, what's worse is that Vance actually verbalizes the quiet but certain opposition within the GOP to other privacy laws, like same-sex marriage. I mean, just take a step back for a moment and listen to what he's saying. That in the year 2022, in the purported freest country in the world, a major political party's nominee is opposing a bill that would codify into law same-sex marriage, even as those same-sex couples are at imminent risk because of what the Supreme Court has already signaled. That's freedom, that's small government, that's family values, clearing the runway for unelected Supreme Court justices to invalidate the marriages of millions of Americans who are already married just because they love someone who you don't approve of. You don't have to be a same-sex couple to recognize A, the depravity of what the right is trying to do, and B, the slippery slope that comes with suddenly revoking every single right that doesn't comport with evangelical Christian beliefs. We watched The Handmaid's Tale and saw a fiction. People like JD Vance watched it and saw a blueprint. Ryan went on to call out JD Vance for having started a nonprofit to purportedly help with addiction, and then hired someone from the company responsible for the pills on which everyone was getting addicted. You cannot make this up. And while that example alone is disqualifying enough, it's actually evidence of a broader trend in JD Vance's rise in political life. He rose to prominence as the understander of the working class man, the author of Hillbilly Elegy, the voice of the forgotten. But while he's used that understanding of the working class plight to gain those people's trust, he then exploited that trust by empowering the elites who are actually responsible for harming the working class. And that's worse than not advocating for them at all, because he knows what these people are up against. He's shown that. And yet he used that position and that power not to protect them, but to protect those who've exploited them. That sums up JD Vance perfectly. With that said, if you want to hear more about exactly who JD Vance is, I did a deep dive with the team at More Perfect Union. The link to that video is right here on the screen, so give it a watch to hear all the details about Vance and his shady past. I promise that you will not regret it. In the meantime, good on Tim Ryan for coming prepared and for making it clear exactly where JD Vance stands. Because he'll stand with the far-right theocrats, he'll stand with Donald Trump, he'll stand with the ultra-rich elites, basically anyone except regular Ohioans. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. You can click the thumbnail right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work even further, the best way is to subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. There you can check out my interviews with major players in the world of politics, including President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Porter, Jamie Raskin, and so many more. Plus other interviews that live exclusively on the podcast. That link is also right here on this screen, or just search No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen wherever you listen to podcasts.